Jamomet family. The Jamomet family, also known as Jamometi, Jamometić, or Jamometović, was one of the 12 noble tribes of the Kingdom of Croatia, mentioned in the Pacta conventa 1102. Originally from Dalmatia, in the 14th century the surname is also mentioned in Zachlumia, possibly being a branch of the Croatian tribe, but the relationship remains uncertain. Etymology. The families in the sources are also referred as Jamometović, Jamometović, Jamamet, Jamometi, Jamometić, Jamometić, Jamometi, Jamometh. Coat of arms. In the Korgenic Neoric Armorial 1595, signed as Jamometović, their coat of arms had a shield with black color, party per pale by a golden pale with 3 pieces on each side. In each part were 3 upward silver crescent moons placed on the top of each other. On the helmet was a crowned black Triton, who with the bow is shooting a golden arrow. The helmet's mantle is black golden. It was again included in the Fojnica Armorial 17th century, but instead of a Triton, the helmet has a pair of white wings in the middle of which is a golden crescent moon. The Saric Armorial 1746, signed as Jamometović, and Bajnisics Siebmachers Wapenbuch, Der Adel von Croatian and Slavonian 1899, had the same style of the coat of arms like in Korgenic Neoric Armorial. Croatian family. Their original estates probably were located in the northwestern and central part of the Luka Županića, specifically in Krbavić Lug, Krneza Magline, Podlaj, Rosulj, Menizic, and near Ostrovica. Earliest known member of the genus Zupan Ionum, Degener Jamometithorum, one of the 12 noblemen mentioned in Pacta conventa 1102, who negotiated with Kaloman, king of Hungary, but the document is rather considered a mid-14th century forgery. Nevertheless, it is considered that the family probably existed in the 12th century. First surely known members are witnesses Pripico et Dobrano Jamometi from 1240 in regard of a land lawsuit near Biograd na Moru. Until 1270, Mistigna earned some estates in Celsi where had serfs, and probably lived in Zadar as a citizen, like Borislav 1303. In medieval Podlaj parish was located a 12th–13th century Romanesque church dedicated to Saint George. Since the end of the 13th century, some members permanently lived with the status of a noble citizen in the city of Nin. In 1284 is recorded Majda, son of Atranco, and the latter probably was the same named citizen who owned saltworks at Pag in 1292. A contemporary prominent member of the family was Vuceta, who served as the mayor of Nin 1284–1302 and split 1304–1307. He was married to Jelena, sister of Ban Paul I Subic of Brabir, and from 1293 he was the Croatian ban's delegate at the Naples court. His son Mihavel had the title of knight, was in the Subic service, succeeded his father on the position of the mayor of Nin mentioned in 1306–1307, and probably died during the wars of Mladen Roman II Subic of Brabir. His son Ivan also had the title of a knight, lived in Nin where had a status of a noble citizen, and founded family Mihaljevic. After the fall of Mladen Roman II, the family lost prominence. In 1322 was mentioned certain Harbania or Herbania Budzik, whose heirs had a land Krnika near Krbavić Lug today, part of Radovin, while 10 years before land Jarin. In 1351, Radislav, son of Zarnuk, earned an estate in Porikani. In 1366, Isix, Nikola Cherbovic from Nin bought some land in Prahalj, while in 1373 are recorded Hlapek and Radislav Probisvic. In 1383, nobleman Nelipak Jamamet had estates which bordered Krbavić Lug and Snajasai. In 1389, nobleman Georgar Klikovic Degener Jamamet lived in Podlaj and sold some parts of lands there. A year later, nobleman Gostisa Krasanik Degener Jamamet sold part of the land in village Rosulj. In 1391, Juraj, son of Pavel of Jamomet from village Menis, sold some land in Podlaj. In the same year, previously mentioned Gostisa sold some land in Rosulj, which witnessed Juraj. In 1412, Ostoja Novakovic was a citizen of Nin. Some members like Lovro of Drasil earned citizenship of Zadar. He had estates in Bilgane which sold 1425 to Vlach Milovasaj Bilojvic, in Kamjane since 1436 and 1441, in Turanj for 1600 ducats, as well as traded fabrics and invested 1500 ducats in a trade association. In 1433 and 1440 is recorded Vukasin Ansikdigener Jamomet, who had the function of a noble judge in Lukazupanija. In 1481 are mentioned for the last time in the surroundings of Zadar. In the second half of the 15th century, in 1483 near Ostrazak Castle, in the area of Pounj were some tribe estates managed by Berik and Juraj Mitkovic. The village Jamometić, later called Jamomet, was since 1330 gifted to the Babonic family by King Charles I of Hungary. Notable members: Andriji Jamometic 1420–1425–1484, a Dominican priest, diplomat and humanist, whose family was from Nin. Since 1475 was provincial of Greek Dominican province, since 1476 Archbishop of Cluj in Albania, and since 1478 in diplomatic missions for Frederick Roman III, Holy Roman Emperor. At the Diets of Nuremberg in 1481, called for unified European effort against the Ottoman Empire conquest, and because of criticizing nepotism and debauchery at the court of Pope Sixtus Roman IV, the Pope imprisoned him for a short period of time. In 1482 he tried to organize a continuation of Council of Basel Ferrara Florence, with which would have been held a renewal of the Church and fight against the Ottomans, but on the Pope and Emperor's behalf was imprisoned in Basel, where died in suspicious circumstances. As he was excommunicated, his remains were thrown into the river Rhine. His main work was Proclamatio Concilia Basiliensis 1482. Bosnian and Herzegovinian family. In the 14th century, a branch, possibly of Vuceta's cousins, was gifted with some estates in Zachlumia, where are mentioned from 1333 until 1466. However, their relationship with Jamometics in Dalmatia and Pounj is unclear. To them are also probably related surnames Monta and its branch Obradovic from Neretva, which connection to the Croatian tribe is also uncertain. They are primarily mentioned in the documents of Republic of Ragusa Dubrovnik, in which vicinity had estates. Earliest member is Vukoslav 1333, who is somehow connected to Milton Draževojević, an ancestor of the Sankovic noble family. The lineage of Radislav 1367, son Rasko 1389, who was in service of Pavlovic noble family in 1419, and grandson Dragus of 1419, 1423, 1426, was in good relations with Dubrovnik and had some estates in Konoval. However, when Konoval were sold by Radislav Pavlovic in 1426, Rasko and Dragusa left their estates, with an unknown destiny of the lineage. Another Vukoslav, possibly great-grandson of the first, was from Zupopovo 1417. He became a voivode in 1436, when seemingly served Nezhjargar Nikolic, and later possibly was part of the Kasaka hierarchy. His brother was probably Klapic 1417, who with his brothers were allowed to resettle their families and goods to Stan. To this Popovo line possibly belong Radania 1453, Petr 1464, and Voivode brothers Dragic and Tvr TKO 1465–1466, who were the last to be mentioned. In 1423, Petr Jamomet, whose relationship to Zakhlumian Jamomets is unknown, lived in Podvisoko of the Kingdom of Bosnia and was in service of King Tvr TKO Roman II. He was married to Jonka and had a son Benko Petrovic Jamometic 1448. His daughter Stanusa 1448 was married to Estijepko Pribasalic Mervic from Stan. The existence of certain Velimir Jamometović 1446, who allegedly managed Serbian lands as a representative of King Thomas, is doubtful.